And we have done enough to say that now is that you just have to connect the dots, put things in perspective, and I believe that we can reach that in a very short space of time because of the amount of groundwork has been done, including from University of the West Indies. You know, Professor Oman has done a lot of work with our estate and still continue to do that. That where we became part of their program and actually to increase our yield using their germplasm, their plants that they have. That where we will also have, it's for safekeeping more or less, as they will say, that you have this plant and you just germinate from that plant and then continue to increase their yield from there.
Right. Can you tell us a little bit more about that project and what type of yield we're looking at? Yeah.
Okay, so in most estates right now, you will be getting, let's say about 900 kgs per hectare. They want to increase that to 2,000 kgs per hectare.
Okay.
And it's being proven right now with their small fields that they got at their Cocoa Research Center.
Right.
And that is why we are at this stage right now.
Right.
And good enough that our farm was picked for that research and to be part of that project.
Yeah, that is great. Tell me something. I know that there are plans for the Tamana estate. But before we even reach there, we have how many trees right now on the estate? Because we're thinking of an adopt a tree campaign. How many trees are there? Because we want to maintain the organic quality. That means it's labor intensive, as you said. How many trees are there right now on the estate? And then what are the other projects? How much land is going to be ascribed to the UE project? And then let's talk about the Cocoa Research Center and turning those cocoa, the raw cocoa, into other products, if you will.
Okay. Let's start with UE because I've cleared part of the land already. So that's about 5 acres we have dedicated to that project. At present, comfortably, I can say about 200,000 trees that we do have on the estate right now. How we did calculate that was per each hectare we measured how many trees within that, because some areas that we got the trees at 6 by 6. We may have to reduce that to increase the yield. And with the other part of the estate, which we're now starting to rehab, we should increase to maybe about 230,000 to that effect.
And that's with the UE germ? No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, that's exactly what you got right now at this moment.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Wonderful. All right. So let's move along. So we know that Trinitario cocoa is one of the best, if not the best in the world. And
correct, yes.
Are there any other species on the Tamana estate apart from Trinitario? Or is it exclusive, if species is the word? Or is Trinitario the only cocoa on the estate?
No, you will have different species like the Criollo and the Trinitario is more or less the same flavor. It's just that one will give you a bigger yield, and some of the beans may be larger than the other, with the Criollo and the Trinitario.
So that's a similar taste?
Well, it depends on your area that you're in.
Okay.
And the type of plants that you got. Because remember, the pollination is done by a gnat. It's like a little sandfly, and not by a bee, as most people will think. So you will adapt certain type of taste, depends on the type of foliage that you have and the plants that you may have around it, and type of fruit trees that you will get. So you may have different species, not species, but it's often the same Trinitarium, but it's a TSH, which was done by again UE, which, because remember, they're trying to protect the J-plus in the bean itself.
Right.
So they want to keep it as organic as possible in protecting the cocoa itself, the bean,
Okay.
the plants, without
Nice.
altering it too much. Right.
Okay. So we're moving along. In terms of community involvement presently, how is the estate, how does the estate connect with the community, whether it's in terms of employment or giving back? What is the relationship between the estate and the community currently?
Okay, for the past from 2017, 2018, we had stopped any major production. One was the reason was because of financially, was some of the issues because we went into a lot of bigger projects, and the funding was not coming in fast enough to complete. So what we did is that we decided to shut in the estate and let's only continue with the pruning and coming up with different developments, as putting in the proper drying houses, fermentation systems, stuff like that into that. So we spent a lot of time and energy within that, because one of the reasons why we started going down that road, the rainfall actually started increasing, of course, with climate change. And that was one of our part of our neglect in trying to understand what was happening with the climate change. So what you will get is that with the amount of rainfall that you're getting, your production started slowing down. So within that now, you have to regroup and get the trees now to start behaving. So now you have to start removing more shade, most of the shade trees. So we spent a lot of time removing the shade trees, getting them out from inside, cleaning back all the heads of the trees that we would normally cut, and getting all the roads back in place and with that. Because when you have a piece of equipment running within your roads and stuff, the damage the roads, because it's soft. Because remember, we're dealing with something with a lot of heavy rainfall, and we end up spending a lot more time, money, and energy in rehabbing access to the back to the cocoa again, because you're looking at about nearly 15 kilometers of road that affects. And from there now, you have to create the airflow for the trees to start coming. And within that now, you got to start monitoring the behavior now. And then we started seeing more flowers, more pods on the tree, by just experimenting with the airflow and getting it to dry out faster than normal. Within that time, that took us nearly close to over a year, because remember, from cleaning, pruning, what you're doing, you're stressing the trees out. So you need to stress the trees out to get them to start producing.
Right.
And to see how they're going to behave and what is going to happen, what is not going to happen. So within that time, you could not carry the labor force that you had before, because I will give you an example. Each fortnight, our salaries run us about nearly $36,000. That's it, each fortnight. You don't have a production coming in, and it's a business that you're running. How
Right.
are you going to continue to pay your labor